Despite thinking he's a normal guy, YinXiong is secretly being observed by a powerful being. But unknown to him, he's the possessor of the legendary Dragon Slayer bloodline. His life takes a complete twist after he randomly absorbs the power of a girl he saved, awakening his cultivator powers, forcing him into the cultivator world, where he must defend his own life and power from being taken. YinXiong is chilling on his bed on his first night shift as a security guard, until his boss orders him to check why there's a power failure that ruined his ranked game. He heads to the rooftop to check the electric circuits and sees a random girl floating in midair. The girl is going through what is called a heaven tribulation in the cultivator world, and gets distracted by his presence, resulting in her getting electrocuted by a bolt of lightning. She falls unconscious on the floor and our boy saves the damsel in distress with some CPR action. As a result, a tower of blue light appears enveloping both of them. He checks on the girl, who has opened her eyes and slaps him hard for stealing her first kiss. YinXiong cowers from the girl's feisty attacks, but eventually she walks away. The next day, he wakes up feeling refreshed and all his senses heightened. He sees the same girl from afar, passing by and ignoring her suitor. He learns that her name is Musi. On the other side of the road, he sees a billboard falling on an unsuspecting civilian. He is too far to reach the girl, and stretches his hand forward while running to save her. Suddenly, a blue light hand power comes out of his hand and pushes and crushes the billboard onto a building. He then passes out and later wakes up tied on a bed, with Musi trying to seduce him. The seduction doesn't work, and Musi reveals who she is. She tells him that she is a cultivator, and she intends to get back the spiritual power he stole from her through CPR. She offers two options. Option 1 is for him to get killed by her black sky sword. Option 2 is for him to cultivate with her and become immortal together. He naturally chooses the second option and she takes him to the rooftop. She then tells him to jump off the building, because he needs to face death to unlock his own cultivator powers. He does but regrets it right away because his powers never awaken throughout the fall. He sees Musi jumping after him and tells him that they should die together. When they are nearing the ground, wings sprout from his back and he flies both of them to the sky. He jokes that they don't need airplanes since they can fly. But this angers Musi. She brings him down to another rooftop and tells him to not expose his powers. Cultivators are humans that can harness immense powers from the spirit world. However, this power is limited. Therefore, when one exposes himself to the world, other cultivators go after him to eliminate him. The next day, Musi gives YinXiong a brand new phone so they can contact each other. He asks her why she didn't finish him off when they first met. She explains that since he has taken a large amount of her spirit energy, she'll die too if she kills him. At night, YinXiong is texting Musi when he notices his boss behaving strangely, as if he's under a spell. He decides to follow him to the park, where he sees his boss flying after getting punched by a girl, who's been trying to find who's the new cultivator in town. YinXiong uses his power and wings to save his boss, making the girl realize that he is her target. She uses a charm spell, forcing him to follow her to the rooftop of a building. The girl, whose name is Ryu, casts a barrier around to avoid getting detected by other cultivators and then punches him while removing the spell she put on him. Finally aware of what's happening, he realizes that she's a cultivator and she wants to kill him. He attempts to escape by flying away, but she stops him and throws him back onto the rooftop. She summons her fire whip to finish him, but Musi suddenly appears in a bolt of black lightning. Ryu's fire whip transforms into a sword and she attacks Musi, who summons her black sky sword to fight back. But Musi realizes that Ryu is much more powerful than both her and YinXiong, and tells him to leave, as she will finish this fight quickly and meet him. Ryu releases a powerful fire attack. Musi is able to defend herself, but not for long. Bleeding, and her clothes ruined, Musi waits for Ryu to end her. But to her surprise, YinXiong comes back and protects her. Ryu stabs YinXiong through the heart. Musi cries after seeing this, but Ryu is heartless and relentless in killing both of them. YinXiong loses consciousness, but wakes up in the spirit world. There he meets a man with long white hair, who turns out to be Musi's ancestor, YinXiong. YinXiong introduces himself as Musi's husband, and the guy gives him the hand-timed beads. He tells him that he can use his powers again through the beads when he gets back to the living world, and he can use it for 1 minute. YinXiong comes back in the nick of time, as Ryu is about to give the final blow to Musi. A blue tower of light appears from the sky. From there, YinXiong returns as a serious man with long hair and intense eyes, different from his normal weak appearance. From this, Ryu immediately knows that his latent powers are way more powerful than hers. Still, she goes for the killing strike using her fire whip, but he destroys her weapon with just one word. Defeated, she chooses to jump off the rooftop. YinXiong, who has returned to his normal appearance, saves her. He tells her that running away after getting defeated is okay, but ending her life is not. Ashamed, Ryu cries that they don't know her pain, and then she runs away. Already healed, Musi tells YinXiong to let the other girl go. She asks him where and how he got his immense power. YinXiong makes all sorts of excuses, but she doesn't buy them. Instead, she invites him in a hotel to rest after the fight. There, she explains that her family has a special way to co-cultivate with a partner. She kisses him, and then both of them are transferred into each other's consciousness. YinXiong sees Musi's past, where all her clan members were killed by a man who is after the Black Sky Sword. Meanwhile, Musi is inside his consciousness, where she sees a ball of light that radiates a spiritual energy that is familiar to her, but definitely not the one that he took from her before. Ryu starts acting friendly towards YinXiong for the next couple of days after saving her, and decides to invite YinXiong to meet him at the park at night, where she decides to attack him, but in the end, she gives up. Musi, who is with YinXiong, asks her why she is doing this. She reveals that her master has sent her after YinXiong and Musi because he sensed their great cultivation powers. But she failed her mission, which will result in her master attacking them. She invited them to deal with them, but she can't. He saved her and she cannot forget the moments they shared together. Instead of fulfilling the mission, Ryu warns them about her master's plan. She explains how she met her master. Her village was once attacked by a snake monster whom she previously befriended. She met an old man who was passing by the village, and he advised her to get revenge. She followed the advice, killing her snake friend, and accepted the old man's proposal to become his apprentice. But over time, she noticed her master's inhuman techniques, where he consumes people's blood to increase his power, but his strength is further increased if he consumes blood from a powerful cultivator. Ryu emphasizes to both YinXiong and Musi that once he kills them all, including herself, her master will reach the final stage of cultivation and he will become unstoppable. She offers an alliance to them to bring down her master, to which YinXiong agreed. Then she returns to her master to avoid suspicions. Once they are alone, Musi tells YinXiong that the power inside him must be a weapon spirit. In order to control it, he must make a blood contract with it. So she helps him release the spirit, who takes the form of a girl. He immediately knows that she comes from the beads given to him. The spirit confirms that she has high levels of cultivation. But YinXiong is not yet at a level where he can freely wield the spirit's power. As he is now, he can only call her for a few minutes, but his potential is limitless. YinXiong names her Linger, and she later tells him that he has immense powers inside, but he doesn't know how to channel them out of his body. She decides to bring him to a dimension inside the hand-tied beads. There, she helps him regulate his cultivation energy, although the process causes him great physical pain, but he endures for the sake of Musi's and Ryu's past sufferings. In the end, he manages to control his power and defeat some sentient trees who attacked him in the dimension. Both return to the normal world, and YinXiong receives a call from Musi asking him to meet at a shop. She tells they must prepare themselves to fight against Ryu's master, therefore, they must get some weapons. Musi shows her VIP card and demands to see the owner of the shop. Then she gives YinXiong money to purchase whatever weapon he likes. He lets Linger choose which one to buy, but she chooses an ordinary box that contains a rusted dagger. The sales lady who sold them the item thought she is making a good sale, when in fact the dagger is the most valuable item in the shop. As it turns out, Linger recognizes the dagger as the weapon her previous master used to kill the great red dragon, and imbued the dragon's spirit into the blade, making the dagger more lethal, as it is corrosive when in contact with blood. In addition, the dagger allows YinXiong to make copies of himself, helping them in their future battle. He suddenly receives a telepathic message from Ryu, telling him that her master has found out about her betrayal, and is on his way to kill her. YinXiong, Musi, and Linger fly toward Ryu's location, where she is already engaged in fighting her master. YinXiong attacks the master from behind, sending the old man flying. He stands by Ryu, just as Musi arrives with his clone. The master doesn't understand how YinXiong developed his clones. He attacks the clones by his bloody palm. Musi and Ryu try to block it, but they are overpowered. They then decide to attack the master together at the same time. The clones attack with their punches, Musi with her black lightning, and Ryu with her fire. But even with their power, they seem to be no match against the master, who has enveloped himself with a strong barrier, easily repelling their attacks with his cultivator powers. YinXiong then decides to charge solo against the master, and summons his dagger, managing to cut his face cheek. This infuriates the master, who them before that this technique is her master's weakness and the only way to defeat him, so they lure him away. Ryu sets up the scene. This proves to be fatal, as the array is actually meant to strengthen him. The master anticipated Ryu to find ways to defeat him, so he tricked her by making a book of his so-called weaknesses and allowing her to find it in secret. He instantly repels them with his improved fiend art. YinXiong has to call Linger again to defend them while Muzi and Ryu try to run away, but the master follows them and confesses that he orchestrated the attack on Ryu's village in order to make her his disciple, to absorb her power. This infuriates her and she attacks her master. YinXiong takes this opportunity to throw the dagger into the master, hiding it behind Ryu's attack. The master uses his fiend art to manipulate the clouds, forming thunderstorms. This affects a passing plane, which is controlled to crash into them. Muzi takes this chance to redirect the plane using her sword Black Sky Sword power, crashing the plane into the master, but he defends himself by manipulating blocks of earth to absorb the impact of the crash. He then redirects the lightning to attack Muzi. It has become a maelstrom of fire and lightning, but Muzi keeps trying to evade the attacks. YinXiong runs to aid Muzi and manages to catch her. Both start holding the Black Sky Sword and use it to cut the master's left arm. He retaliates by using his ultimate technique, blood consumption, and uses his gravity pull technique to capture Muzi and break her neck, ending her life. YinXiong is devastated. He finally draws out the full power of the beads given to him, taking again the form of a man with angel wings, long hair, and intense eyes. He throws the dagger into the air in a spinning motion, cutting himself in the arms, allowing the blood to flow through the spinning dagger into the master's center arm. This makes the latter's blood become infected. Ryu uses her last powers to attack her greatly weakened former master, chopping his other arm off. The master doesn't heal easily despite his blood corroding. He manipulates blocks of earth and sends them to YinXiong, who deflects them with his dagger. In an epic final blow, YinXiong uses the dagger to cut through the heart of the master, ending him once and for all. After the fight, YinXiong approaches Muzi's dead body and calls out for an elder. He reveals that he always felt someone was watching him, and knows that he's probably going after the hand-tied penis. The elder appears and strikes a deal. He will revive Muzi, but YinXiong must find his location within 3 years and give him the beads. In the end, Muzi is revived and takes YinXiong to her hometown, where they formalize their romantic relationship.
And I'm pretty sure that you are.